Auntie Mickey's house. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Auntie Mickey's house. Auntie's house. You're in the house. You know you're in the house. Come on in and grab a seat, grab a seat. Come on in and hit that light, hit that light. Oh, you're Aunt Mickey's house. Auntie Mickey's house. Grab a seat, prop your feet. Let's sip some tea, sip that tea. Entertainment, news, and spirituality. From the culture to the fun, Auntie sets the tone. Sets the tone. With a laugh and a truth, she holds the throne. She holds the throne, yeah. Auntie Mickey's house. Come on in now. Auntie Mickey's house. Oh, Auntie's house. You're in the house. You know you're in the house. Come on in and grab a seat, yeah, yeah. Come on in and hit that like, don't forget now. Auntie Mickey's house. She can roast with a smile, drop wisdom too. Break down the headlines, bring it straight to you. Straight to you, baby. Community strong, conversation grown. Grown talk, baby. Auntie Mickey's house, make yourself at home, yeah. Come together, every voice is heard. Every voice, respect the vibe, let's share the word. Oh, yeah. From the jokes to the prayers, she keeps it real. Keeps it real. Auntie Mickey's house, that's the deal. That's the deal, baby. Auntie Mickey's house. Auntie's house. Oh yeah. Auntie Mickey's house. Auntie's house. On in the house. You know you're in the house. Come on in and grab a seat. Grab a seat. Come on in and hit the light. Hit the light, hit the light. You're at Auntie Mickey's. Yeah, yeah. Auntie Mickey's house. Auntie Mickey's. Auntie Mickey's house. Auntie Mickey's house. It's Auntie Mickey's house. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Auntie Mickey's house. Auntie's house. You're in her house. You know you're in her house. Come on in and grab a seat. Grab a seat. Come on in and hit that light. Hit that light. Oh, you're at Auntie Mickey's. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah. Auntie's house. Auntie's house. Auntie's house. Grab a seat, drop your feet, let's sip some tea. Sip that tea. Entertainment, news, and spirituality. From the culture to the fun, Auntie sets the tone. With a laugh and a truth, she holds the throne. She holds the throne, yeah. Auntie's house. Oh, Auntie's house. You know you're in her house. Come on in and grab a seat, yeah. Come on in and hit that light, don't forget. Auntie Mickey's. Auntie Mickey's house. Auntie Mickey's house, oh yeah, yeah. She can roast with a smile, drop wisdom too. Break down the headlines, bring it straight to you. Straight to you, baby. Community strong, conversation grown. Don't talk, baby. Auntie Mickey's house, make yourself at home, yeah. Come together, every voice is heard. Every voice, respect the vibe, let's share the word, oh yeah. From the jokes to the prayers, she keeps it real. Keeps it real, keeps it real. That's the deal, that's the deal, baby, yeah, yeah. Auntie Mickey's house. Auntie's house, oh yeah. Auntie Mickey's house. You know you're in a house. Come on in and grab a seat. Grab a seat, come on hit the light on your way to Auntie Mickey's. Yeah. Auntie Mickey's house, Auntie Mickey's house, Auntie Mickey's house.
Oh, Lord have mercy. Hello, everybody. Hello, everybody. Hello, 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 hello. Welcome to the house, Auntie Mickey's house. I hope y'all are chilling. I hope you had a wonderful day today. It's Tuesday. Man, tomorrow's Wednesday. Tomorrow's the parade. I am not going. I'll watch it on television. That's what I'll do. Tomorrow is the Seahawks parade for winning the Super Bowl. So, yes, I will be watching on television. I'm not going down there in them crowds. Not with these crazy people. Now, Uncle, he can take the kids if he want to. Go right ahead. Love ya. Make it back safe. Oh, my goodness, but welcome to Auntie Mickey's house, where you can kick back, put your feet up, because we ain't gonna smell them, because everybody's in their own house, so, but just virtually. Put your feet up, bring you some popcorn, bring you something to drink, and sit back and we'll talk about the topic of the day. And I'm sure you've seen the title. The title is, "This Country is in Crisis, but the Government is Sitting Quiet." Now, a lot of people might look at that and say, "Oh, because the man is unhinged," and yeah, there's some truth to that. Oh my goodness, this boy, he gonna have to just call. There's some truth to that. Yes, the man is definitely unhinged, but there's a reason for it. Not just because he's racist. Not because he's rich and entitled, but there's something going on with this man up here. Most definitely. And I think we all kind of figured that out. But there's so many other things distracting us from that narrative, that when it happens, when that man drops, this whole country gonna be up in arms like, "We didn't know." Yes, you did. You just didn't choose to know. Because these MAGA people, they're following behind this man like sheep, like nanny goats. So when their Lord and Savior dips out, they ain't gonna know what to do. Hello, Miss Shelley. How are you? Hello, C. Gonzalez. Hello, Carmela. Hello, Barbara. Adventurous. Camille. Let's see. Rachel Haynes is here. Who else we got? Did I say Carmela? Yeah, I said Carmela. Kathy Mitchell. Hello, sweetheart. There's my satin doll. Okay, and there's my boo thing at the top of the list. Hello, boo thing. How are you? Yeah, I did get some rest. A little bit. Your grandson is gone. He left about 20 minutes ago. So I got the house to myself. I can talk as loud as I want. Xavion just called me and I didn't pick up. Because he knows that I'm live. He should know that by now. So, we see this news every day. And we're hit with some of the craziest issues ever dealt with in modern history. Hello, Just Hot Flashing. Hello, sweetie. But each story is just a piece of an even bigger puzzle. Trump's health is definitely declining at a very rapid rate. And this live may give us more understanding. It may give y'all more understanding as to why his behavior has been so erratic and unhinged compared to the years past. Okay. So reports say that he has been diagnosed with what they call frontotemporal dementia. And I guess there's different levels of dementia. Okay. Some are worse than others. So what I will do, first of all, we're going to go over what frontal dementia, I can never say it all right. Frontal temporal dementia entails. Okay. Hold on just a second. This isn't a long read, so I'll just read it to you. And this is according to the Mayo Clinic. I got this off the Mayo Clinic. It says frontotemporal dementia, or FTD, is an umbrella term for a group of brain diseases, plural, that mainly affect the frontal and temporal lobes of the brain. These areas of the brain are associated with personality, behavior, and language. Remember language. Keep that in the back of your head. Literally. Hello, Dawn. Hello, Millionaire's Cove. I see you, sweetie. So in frontotemporal dementia, parts of these lobes shrink, known as atrophy. Symptoms depend on which part of the brain is affected. Some people with frontotemporal dementia have changes in their personalities. Now, let me stop right there. He's always been a jerk. I ain't gonna lie. His personality is still pretty much where it's always been. But that's because of, his upbringing. He was brought up to be, entitled. His personality is a reflection of how he was raised. So they become socially inappropriate and may be impulsive or emotionally indifferent. Others lose the ability to properly use language. Again, keep that in mind, because I'm going to show y'all some videos. They were meant to be funny, but I'm not displaying those here for the joke. This is literally to prove a point. Frontotemporal dementia can be misdiagnosed as a mental health condition or as Alzheimer's disease. But FTD tends to occur at a younger age than does Alzheimer's disease. It often begins between the ages of 40 and 65, although it can occur later in life as well. FTD is the cause of dementia about 10% to 20% of the time. Now that's the overview from the Mayo Clinic. Now they go on to talk about changes and whatnot. Symptoms of frontotemporal dementia differ from one person to the next. Symptoms get worse over time, usually over years. Now, it has been said by authorities in this matter that they saw signs of it back in his first term. This didn't just pop up. This has been going on for a long time. And it progressively gets worse. Exactly. For real, Millionaire's Cove. People with frontotemporal dementia tend to have clusters of symptom types that occur together. They also may have more than one cluster of symptom types. One type is the behavioral changes. Behavior hasn't really changed. It's just gotten worse, actually. Hello, Kendra. The most common symptoms of frontotemporal dementia involve extreme changes in behavior and personality. These include increasingly inappropriate social behavior, like posting our first black president and first lady as apes on a public platform. Loss of empathy and other interpersonal skills. For example, not being sensitive to another person's feelings. I don't even have to explain that. A lot of these symptoms or behavioral changes are self-explanatory when it comes to him. Lack of judgment. Loss of inhibition. Now, he ain't really lost inhibition. I mean, he's always... Whew. Exactly, Millionaire's Code. This is my whole point. You just pretty much proved my whole point right there. Right there. Because this is dangerous. Lack of interest, also known as apathy. Apathy can be mistaken for depression. Now, we wouldn't see that because we don't see him in those alone times, if you know what I'm saying. Compulsive behaviors such as tapping, clapping, or smacking lips over and over. I haven't really seen that. But he has a tendency lately of passing gas, from what they say. I mean, in front of everybody. A decline in personal hygiene. What do we know? Changes in eating habits. People with FTD typically overeat or prefer to eat sweets and carbohydrates. Isn't he the guy? Isn't he the McDonald's king? Now, these next two, I've never seen this happen. I ain't gonna lie. It says speech and language symptoms. Some subtypes of frontotemporal dementia lead to changes in language ability or loss of speech. Subtypes include primary progressive aphasia, semantic dementia, and progressive agrammic aphasia, also known as progressive non-fluent aphasia. These conditions can cause increasing trouble using and understanding written and spoken language. People with FTD may not be able to find the right word to use in speech. We've seen this happen time and time again when he's publicly speaking or being interviewed. Trouble naming things. People with FTD may replace a specific word with a more general word, such as using it for pen, as an example. No longer knowing word meanings. Having hesitant speech that may sound telegraphic by using simple two-word sentences. Making mistakes in sentence building. We've witnessed this happen, whether you realize it or not. Movement conditions. Rare subtypes of frontotemporal dementia cause movements similar to those seen in Parkinson's disease or amyotrophic lateral sclerosis or ALS. Movement symptoms may include tremor, rigidity, muscle spasms or twitches, poor coordination, trouble swallowing, muscle weakness, inappropriate laughing or crying, which we definitely ain't seen that, falls or trouble walking. Now, I do recall seeing a video not too long ago with him walking down the red carpet, and he had a hard time staying center. He was trailing off and watching his feet the entire time. and then kind of trailing back to the center, but being very mindful of his walk or his gait. In frontotemporal dementia, the frontal and temporal lobes of the brain shrink and certain substances build up in the brain. What causes these changes is usually not known. Some genetic changes have been linked to frontotemporal dementia, but more than half of the people with FTD have no family history of dementia. I don't know. I don't know about that. Researchers have confirmed that some frontotemporal dementia gene changes also are seen in amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, or ALS. More research is being done to understand the connection between the conditions. I'm not going to go off into the risk factors because what I want to do is jump right into what we have literally witnessed in him. Now, this by no means excuses this man's behavior. Not by a long shot. Actually, what this does is I'm looking at those that are working with him and for him, turning a blind eye to this and allowing him to run with it. At what point do you institute the 25th Amendment? Come on. You can't allow someone to stay in office with something like this going on with them. They've got to be better capable of running a office like that. This is the top job of the country, if not the world. And we've got someone in there that is not only racist, but he's not even going to be much longer able to control his problems up here. This is the man that has the button. The button. Absolutely automatic tax returns. This is part of the problem right here. The people around him are using him. Not only are they using him, a lot of them are incompetent. Because remember, he puts people in office that really don't know how to do the job other than be yes people. Being a yes man is not doing the job. That's just saying yes to everything. A good person that knows their job and stands by what they know are going to be the ones to tell them, man, listen, this ain't going to work. I know you don't like hearing it, but this is where we need to put our foot down as a party. You're going to have us all messed up if you continue going this route. But no, we've got people that cover up for him. You know, for whatever reason, whether they don't want to get rid of the power that they have. Absolutely, Life Chronicles. That's why he gave all his buddies positions, because they're yes people. They're in it for the money. They're in it for the power, for selfish reasons, not considering the impact that it's going to have on the entire country. And the fact that he don't have much left of this term. I mean, 3 more years? That's a short period of time. But look how much collateral damage has already been caused. So whoever the next president is, they're going to have to fix it. Just like Obama had to clean up Bush Jr.'s mess. Automatic tax return says, I am a caregiver who has FTD due to a stroke. It will get worse. And I am so sorry to hear that, sweetheart. But you're telling the truth. You're telling the truth. So it just amazes me that the government has not stepped in like they did for Ronald Reagan. Remember Ronald Reagan? I'm sure you guys remember Ronald Reagan. When he was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, they stepped in and covered for him. But they didn't allow him to tear this place apart. That's the difference. So let me share this video with you. Like I said earlier, I'm not trying to mock the man. Hello, Q Rock. I'm not a big fan. Never have been. Before he was even in office, I was not a fan because I saw arrogance all over him. From The Apprentice to just being in the news as whoever he was. Exactly, Millionaire's Code. So this is gonna shed some light on the verbal part of this. I'm going to turn this down. Hold on just a second. Now, I obtained this from a site called, or a channel called First Post. And they cover some of the things that, I won't say it's a parody, but you might perceive it to be that way. But just check out this video.
He is rewriting the English language, one tweet, one soundbite, and one rally at a time. Using words that many people can't understand, Trump delivers linguistic curveballs that leave grammar experts weeping. Whether it's showering love on tariffs on air or airing his grievances with low water pressure, one thing's for sure, when President Trump speaks, the English language packs its bags and goes on vacation.
Now, first, let me add this. This here video is 6 years old. This ain't the first. This didn't just start. And that's what I'm trying to get people to understand. This video right here is 6 years old. He was displaying symptoms back in his first term. We've had a whole new term after his first term that lasted 4 years when Biden was in office. And those 4 years, he was progressively getting worse. But this has been going on, reports say, since his first term.
Here's our report with more.
The President of the United States, traditionally a beacon of wisdom, eloquence, and diplomatic charm. But you can toss that handbook out the window because when Donald Trump walks into a room, the English language walks out. Trump has always had a knack for turning a phrase usually inside out, upside down, and then setting it on fire.
I'm thrilled to be back with so many.
His speeches are less presidential addresses and more verbal roller coasters with no seatbelts.
To take back our country. But if you're ready, go ahead.
This week's fresh edition, the word panicking. No, it's not a Caribbean vacation hotspot. It's Trump's new term for those American pearl clutchers who are panicking over his global economic grenade of tariffs.
He's making up words. He is making up words. Like I said, 6 years ago. This was going on over 6 years ago. 6 years is a long time for something like this to continue to progress. It doesn't get better, it gets worse. Hello, Donna McClinton.
67%. That's tariffs. The head of.
According to Professor Trump, a panicking is part of a new party made up of the weak and stupid.
Was this idea of doing a pause
Staying with the tariffs, when one reporter asked Trump how the idea of pausing these tariffs came to him, he said it came straight from his heart.
I think it probably came together fairly early this morning. Just wrote it up. We didn't have the use of, we didn't have access to lawyers, or we just we wrote it up from our hearts, right? It was written from the heart. And I think it was well written too, but it was written from the heart. It was written as something that I think was very positive for the world and for us.
He uses his words to fill in time. Yes, automatic tax returns, you're right. It may be longer than that. He was 70, so I believe 65 for him. Yeah. Because he's almost 80 now. So this has been a progressive thing, reportedly. But he has a tendency to use filler words and filler statements to draw out a conversation or draw out an interview or draw out a speech. Q-Rock said the people who put him in office need to be drug tested. Yeah, I have to agree with you on that one.
The move that has turned the world upside down came from his heart and not from lawyers, experts, or advisors. Trump signed an executive order to roll back water regulations, complaining that modern American showerheads just aren't cutting it, literally.
In my case, I like to take a nice shower to take care of my beautiful hair. I have to stand under the shower for 15 minutes till it gets wet. It comes out drip, drip, drip. It's ridiculous.
Lord have mercy.
Yes, while the rest of the country might be concerned about, say, the economy, Trump's top concern was making sure his locks get the presidential soak they deserve.
Once again, his brain is not functioning as a president. He doesn't think on the lines of what's good for the people, just what's good for him. We'll go off into that later too.
At a Republican donor soiree this week, Trump turned up the heat with his usual modesty. Countries are calling me up, and, well, let's just hear it from the horse's mouth.
And don't let some of these politicians go around saying, because I'm telling you, these countries are calling us up, kissing my. They are dying to make a deal. Please, sir, make a deal. I'll do anything, sir.
His love affair with the word tariffs borders on obsession. Trump has expressed his love for this word at numerous occasions. During his Inauguration Day parade, he reiterated his love for tariffs. He had commented, "I always say tariffs are the most beautiful words to me in the dictionary." He added that tariffs will make America rich as hell.
Charlie, what are you talking about? Nobody said that this video was alive. I'm playing a video from 5-6 years ago. Pay attention.
Now let's talk about his other greatest linguistic hits. Newscom. This is a spicy remix of California Governor Gavin Newsom's last name. Because when in doubt, just add the word scum. He used it back in 2024 when he visited the southern border. Covfefe. In 2017, he tweeted, "Despite the constant negative press, covfefe." Is it a typo, a secret code, a coven of coffee-related goblins? Well, we'll never know. Trump left the tweet hanging mid-sentence, then told us to enjoy. Truly a masterclass in chaos. Many users believe that the word was coverage.
Big league.
Big league. Big league. Beat her. Big
Big
league.
league.
Big league.
Big league. And I think we're going to make it big league. Big league.
Trump said this the first time during his 2016 presidential debate against Hillary Clinton.
Big league.
Did he say big league or invent a new adverb?
What in the hell is a big league? Or a big league? I'm not understanding that. I don't get it. I'm not quite sure what he's talking about. But it's a clear indication that this man is not all in his brain. He's not wrapped too tight in more ways than one. His personality is bad enough, but when you add dementia to it, that's a serious issue. This is why I believe that they need to start getting younger people in as president. And I'm older, I ain't gonna lie. But when you get older, your cognitive is not the same as when you're younger. Your ideas are not the same. You have to come in to an office ready to deal with today's issues in today's ways, not bullying people, not making jokes about people, not making up silly words. You know what I'm saying?
No one knows. Bird brain, the feathery nickname bestowed upon Nikki Haley, who Trump once hired, then fired, then roasted like a Thanksgiving turkey. All this is less Lincoln and more late-night stand-up if the comedian were also in charge of nuclear codes. So the next time someone asks how the President of the United States can say that, just remember, when it comes to Trump, the only predictable thing is unpredictability, served bigly.
Greeting you with aloha and namaste.
No, I love India.
Presence, occupation of a territory by another country pertains to India, what we saw in Kashmir.
How do you see Trump's America?
Yes, the current administration behaves differently from the previous administration.
Are you saying that there are foreign powers who are trying to bring down the current government in Syria?
Exactly. Iran, maybe Russia.
Prime Minister Modi committed to South-South, cooperation.
Not over 50%.
Is Ukraine prepared to pay the price for that peace?
No compromises at the cost of territorial integrity and sovereignty.
And if you paid any attention to those people that were speaking, those leaders that were speaking, they spoke as if they knew exactly what they were talking about. They spoke with authority. They spoke with just I don't have all the words to say, I'll be honest, but they spoke with authority and they knew exactly what they were talking about, and people could respect them. Hold on just a second. So, like I said, I'm showing these videos not to mock him, per se, but to draw attention to what appears to be symptoms of a serious illness. And that in itself is alarming, considering that, our government is supposed to protect us, the country. Doesn't matter what party you serve. The government is there to protect the people, not just one person. And one person should not be allowed to run amok and be surrounded by yes people. Let me share another one with you. Hold on just a second. This is from MS Now. Morning Joe Show.
As we've been telling you this morning, the Trump campaign is highlighting Joe Biden's gaffes and slip-ups.
Now, this video here is from 5 years ago. The first one was 6 years ago, but this one is 5 years ago. This is a progressive issue. It doesn't get better. It gets worse. It gets worse.
In an attempt to paint him as, quote, confused and out of it, which brings us to another Trump rule from conservative writer Windsor Mann. There's nothing that Biden does that Trump doesn't do worse.
Y'all hit the like button since you're here. Those that are in the bushes and watching, doesn't cost you a thing. It doesn't cost anybody a thing to hit the like button. Put the video into the algorithm, please. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do so. Help grow the channel.
You know, we just set another stock rocket. You saw that, right? The stock market.
Technology companies are really big beneficiaries.
The wall is under construction. A lot of work has been done. A lot of renovation. Made a pivotal, really, and I mean this was pivotal. Obama amnesty. Obama amnesty. And ICE officers removed 10,000 known or suspected gang members, police officers, and you saw that, all of those incredible police officers. I am today starting the process of terminating the diversity lottery program. If we are going to succeed in stopping this scourge, decided to shield and shelter criminal. Wait, their whole state to be a sanctuary for criminal, illegal immigrants. Fairness and reciprocity. And I say that finally. I said, you know, this Russia thing with Trump and Russia, embassies in Kenya and Tanzania, despite these obstacles, Karen, we must seek real bipartisan solutions. Our army manned the airport. It ran the ramparts. It took over the airports and the combat infantrymen. They sacrifice every day for the furniture and future of their children.
You guys watch how he lip syncs to the song. This is a very well-known song. Just watch his lips.
And beside her, and guide her through the night with the light from above. From the mountains to the prairies, to the oceans, wide the flow. God bless America, my home sweet home. God bless America.
You know, it's very interesting, Willie. I've never seen anybody actually mouth the words to Freebird for God Bless America.
It was
But
Stairway to Heaven.
He did it there. Bye-bye, babe. It's been a sweet one. Also, Willie, here's a pro tip. Anytime we get in the middle of a sentence and we can't complete the sentence, we just say Karen. Like the president did. He was like, Karen.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, if you
Again,
notice-
Weird.
Yeah, everything he does is projection.
If you notice, a lot of that's on prompter too, and I think he's a lot of times surprised by a word that comes up in prompter, and he's got to get through it, and he doesn't always do so well getting through it. We hadn't heard the classic that the Continental Army took over the airports in a long time, so I was happy to see that again. They did a great job with the
And by
airports.
the way, we talk a lot.
Okay.
We talk a lot about George Washington and what he did, but I'm telling you, the Air Force and the Space Force of the Continental Army, really
The
impressive.
untold
Mr.
story of
President.
the revolution.
Yeah.
So basically, it's obvious that his health is declining rapidly. Rapidly before our eyes. And nobody is stepping in. Nobody is stepping in to do what's best for this country. This country is in a major crisis, and this is a dangerous, very dangerous territory to be in. And it's no mistake that we are facing repercussions all over the board, from ICE and his handling of that, to threatening to take Greenland, and to suddenly taking the president of Venezuela and his wife, and taking oil and selling it and putting it in an account in Qatar, where only he has control over that. It's just things that we would never tolerate in the past. Never. And a president would never think to do something like that. If nothing else, not publicly. I don't know what they did behind closed doors back in the day. But this is out in the open for all of us to see. And we're just swallowing it. We're just swallowing it and taking it. So let's not forget about the whole the whole Epstein issue, which I'm not going to even get into that. I'm sure that that's adding to a lot of his cognitive issues. So let me go ahead and share this. This is an article that was also done. This was actually 2 years ago, as he was running for president. What are the blue symbols? I don't know, Michelle. I don't know. So this is an article from People magazine. This was an interview with his nephew. Excuse me. It says Donald Trump's nephew recalls grandpa's dementia symptoms. This grandpa would be Donald's father, as he warns of former president's decline. This was an exclusive interview. I see it in a parallel with the way my grandfather's decline was. Fred Trump III says of Donald's recent behavior. If anyone wants to believe that dementia did not run in the Trump family, it's just not true. It says Donald Trump's nephew, Fred C. Trump III, is opening up about his family's often overlooked history of dementia, and how his uncle's recent behavior reminds him of the other Trumps who have faced cognitive health challenges, including Donald's dad. I don't know what you're talking about, Michelle. I don't see it on my end. Like anyone else, I've seen his decline, but I see it in parallel with the way my grandfather's decline was. Fred 61 tells People of Donald 78 at the time, who has at times downplayed his father's symptoms. If anyone wants to believe that dementia did not run in the Trump family, it's just not true. As election day looms closer, and like I said, this was before he was elected, Fred says it's frustrating how the speculation around candidates' mental aptitude this election cycle hasn't involved taking a closer look at their family histories. People who don't know the candidates would diagnose, if you will, Biden and diagnose Donald. I never heard anyone say, oh, let's look at the family history of either of these two people. The former president's campaign dismissed the following interview as completely fabricated and total fake news, of course. And that is a picture of Donald and his father, Fred Trump Sr. Fred's first brush with a loved one showing signs of dementia came when his namesake grandfather, Frederick Christ Trump Sr., was diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease. He says that Donald's cousin, John Walter, also had dementia, and Donald's late sister, Mary Ann Trump Berry, displayed similar symptoms before her death last year, despite never being diagnosed. Fred recalls his grandfather's decline beginning in the 1980s, with some of the similar stories you have heard time and time again. That's when his limousine would stop. He would just get out of the car and start walking away. Fred Sr.'s behavior became a norm for those around him, says his grandson. You know, things that you almost say, oh, there goes Grandpa again. Okay, Janet, you can go to hell. Get out of here, since you can't be respectful. I'm not putting up with disrespectful people in here. You can have a change. You can have you can have an opinion. We may not agree, but you can have an opinion. Just don't come up in my chat being disrespectful, or I will ban you. Take that shit somewhere else. Excuse my French. There's a related story here that I'm not going to pull up. It says Donald Trump's niece recounts scathing scenes from growing up Trump as tell-all smashes sales records. You have to understand, adds the younger Fred, he still went to work every day. That was part of the thing. Fred Sr.'s continued employment was to give my grandmother, Mary Ann McLeod Trump, a rest and not have him around the house. He tells people, my grandmother used to call it the 36-hour day being around my grandfather, who had onset Alzheimer's. And this is an old picture. This is, oh yes, he was married to Marla Maples. I think that was his second wife. I might be wrong. Yes, Donald Trump and Marla Maples pose at their wedding with Fred Trump Sr. and Mary Ann McLeod Trump. So that's Donald's parents and his second wife, Marla Maples. Hold on just a second. Fred, who described his experience growing up in the Trump dynasty in his recent book, All in the Family, The Trumps and How We Got This Way, recalls his grandfather becoming a little more agitated as his condition grew worse. He would scream, and I witnessed this, scream at my grandmother for spending too much money, says Fred, reminding that money was not a concern for his grandfather. The behavior kept escalating and escalating to the point where doctors would say to my grandmother, you really shouldn't be staying in the same bedroom with him at night. That's scary. That's pretty scary. Fred, the son of Donald's late brother, Fred Trump Jr., clarifies that he never saw or heard his grandfather ever become physically violent with his grandmother, but instead agitated in his language and vicious. He also alleges that Donald's sister, Mary Ann, seemed to exhibit signs of dementia before her death on November 13, 2023. One of the last times I saw Mary Ann, she said, you know, I've only met your wife Lisa once. And I was sort of taken aback by that. I said, well, you've actually met Lisa hundreds of times over the almost 40 years that you've known her, as long as I have. Recalling his grandfather's experience with dementia specifically, Fred claims that he's witnessed similarities in recent years with his Uncle Donald, who has not released any recent medical records as the oldest presidential nominee in U.S. history. One particular interaction jumps to the front of Fred's mind as an example when he ran into Donald at Mar-a-Lago in 2023. He just looked disoriented, and he kept repeating something to me time and time again when I had met him, Fred tells People. He kept repeating things, and he just looked different. He looked tired. Fred says he noticed his uncle has also had no inhibitions about cursing in front of anybody more recently, and while he recognizes that Donald has always cursed, his nephew describes the former president's recent communication as outright nastiness. Fred, who decided to back Kamala Harris' presidential campaign, explains, "I always had to disclaim, I'm not a neurologist, I'm not a psychologist, I'm not an MD. But based on his family experiences, he says, I see traits with Donald that are unfortunate." Recalling one of Donald's first times meeting Fred's son, William, who has complications from a rare genetic mutation, Fred says Donald rebuffed Lisa's explanation of William's condition. Thank you, Millionaires Cove, for becoming a new member. Thank you so much, love. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the membership. When Lisa and I went to see Donald, and he said, "Well, what's wrong with William?" And Lisa says, "Well, he has an issue with one of his genes, a gene mutation." And Donald immediately says, "Not our genes," Fred claims. He can never admit that there is any mental or physical flaw in anybody in the family. Donald's nephew, who claims in his book that the former president once told him disabled Americans should just die due to expenses and the shape they're in, which Donald's campaign firmly denied, tells people he thinks the former president is likely playing up the old projecting thing by denying any flaws in his family's medical history. He can never open up the negative door on the family, ever, says Fred, because if he admitted that my grandfather had dementia, well, that's almost admitting that he has the possibility of having dementia. The potential that Americans could elect Donald to the White House once again without certainty about his cognitive health has Fred concerned. At that time, I could see why. Following a series of public campaign trail flubs in which the former president has mixed up names of world leaders, slurred his speech, and relied on increasingly violent rhetoric about his opponents. My grandfather, unfortunately, was threatening my grandmother late in his life. And that was horrible. And I witnessed it, Fred says. But my grandfather didn't have any decision making that was going to have world implications. The biggest implication is, does my grandmother sleep in another bedroom to stay away from him when he's roaming around the house at 2 o'clock in the morning? But for Donald, he adds, this is potentially the most important person in the world. So there were concerns a long time ago, and people turned a blind eye to it. And here we are. Here we are. That article was from 2 years ago. The two previous ones, one was 5 years ago, the other one was 6 years ago. Trump was in office 8 years ago. Now we're on to his second term. We've had 8 years of this progression. That's a long time. But this next video is going to throw you. This next video is from the David Pakman Show here on YouTube. And I haven't seen a whole lot of traction go on with it. But it's something that more people need to see and be aware of. Now, again, I don't profess to be an expert. But there is such a thing as plain and common sense, too. The Love Bud says, I gotta say, the last few days have been particularly heavy. Absolutely. Absolutely. Millionaire's Cove says, maybe that's why Melania stays separate. Because when someone is dealing with something like that, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work, both physically and mentally. So I'm going to play this video. After I'm done playing the video, we're going to shut the live down. But I wanted to end the video, or end this live with this video. And it's very telling. Very telling. And again, the name of the content creator is called David Pakman. The David Pakman Show. Here on YouTube. And he had a physical therapist on his show who he conducted an interview with. And some of the things that this man had to say was very interesting. Because he deals with this situation every day.
Today, I'm going to be speaking with Adam James, who is a content creator under the name Epistemic Crisis. Adam is a licensed physical therapist of 14 years working in home healthcare. And Adam, people might be saying, how is that experience relevant to anything that you talk about, David? But you'll tell us, when we see the publicly visible symptoms and characteristics of Donald Trump, these are things you're very familiar with from the folks you work with.
Millionaire's Cove says changing diapers and dealing with him mentally is work. And that's true. Not only is that a lot of work, but that is a clear indication that there's some cognitive issues in incontinence. That is yet another symptom. And that's why they need caregivers. Because it's hard for the family to have to deal with that.
That's right. It's something I see every day. When a neurologist or any other physician diagnoses a patient with these types of neurological conditions, many times we are then called in, and then we see that patient in their own home 2, 3, 4 times a week in some cases. So we become extremely familiar with it.
I have questions about so many of the things I observe with Donald Trump that go directly to your experience. I, as a layperson, see that he sometimes has this way of standing where he kind of hinges forward at the waist very noticeably. Or, for example, I see him walking and the trajectory of his right leg is sort of being dragged and then pulled around almost like from the hip, if you imagine it tracing a half circle in the air. I could go on, right, and give you
I'm going to back that up a little bit because I want you to see his gait. I'm going to make this picture larger. Take a look at how he walks. Thank you, DeLove Bud. Thank you for becoming a new member. Hi, Lisa Howard. Notice how he leans forward and bends at the waist.
very noticeably. Or, for example, I see him walking and the trajectory of his right leg is sort of being dragged and then pulled around almost like from the hip, if you imagine it tracing a half circle in the air. I could go on, right, and give you other examples. As a professional, am I seeing things that aren't really relevant, or is there stuff here that is worthy of discussion?
It's all worthy of discussion. What you're seeing just with the gait, the swinging that leg in a semicircle at times is I think it's a combination of he's probably had some measure of stroke-like event, whether it's a CVA or TIA, most likely last September when he disappeared for several days. The swinging of the leg is a adaptation to right-sided weakness from some sort of stroke event, I believe.
Now, this is his interpretation, not mine, okay? But I found this fascinating.
But a wider-based gait is also a symptom of dementia, specifically frontotemporal dementia, which I think is what he's dealing with most. So the wider someone's gait gets, the slower their gait speed is. Those are all adaptations for an increased risk of falling, because subconsciously he knows my balance is decreasing and I need to protect myself.
As a licensed physical therapist, are these things that can be worked on such that they improve? Of course, the first step is you've got to acknowledge that there's a problem. And the second step is you've got to say, I want to work on it. But putting that aside for a moment, are these things that are simply progressive, or can they be worked on?
So to a certain degree, they can be worked on. With a patient that's in the shape that he's in, honestly, more of my work would be focused on safety adaptations, like in his living space, the use of an assistive device for walking to prevent a fall. So yes, they can be worked on, they can be improved upon. There's a certain measure of improvement you can see from something like a stroke-like event. But then there's also a case of a chronic progressive disease that has no cure, such as dementia. You're literally dealing with losing neurons are dying and you are losing brain tissue. And that's most likely reflected on
That means his brain is shrinking. And there's no cure for it. None at all. There's no cure for it.
the multiple MRIs that he has had, because I believe they're tracking the progression of dementia.
So let's talk about the MRI. It turns out he didn't really have the MRI that he told us he did. Now, let me kind of set the stage here. A few months ago, Donald Trump said, yes, I got an MRI. He was asked why. He didn't know. He was asked of what part of the body. He didn't know. The White House then issued multiple statements about Trump's MRI.
Yeah.
And then after 2 months, it turned out that it was a CAT scan. So there are questions about that and how Trump would be so confused about what he got. But do we know that he even has received MRIs? Because
remember how he, in his first term, flaunted that he was so healthy. He's the healthiest president that has ever lived. He's even healthier than Obama. He can't seem to get Obama out of his head, by the way. There's a serious jealousy issue that Obama takes up residence in this man's head, rent-free. But y'all remember when he was president the first term, and he went on about how healthy he was. I only eat McDonald's, and that's all I'm going to ever eat, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And he would just lie. Just lie about it. And actually went so far as to have the doctor that gave him his examination write up a bogus letter. Put a 1 in the chat if you remember that. I wish you would go take a freaking hike, Patrick. Kiss my ass goodbye. I done told these people don't come in here disrespectful.
Now I'm thinking everybody has just been talking about this CAT scan the whole time.
Right. So I take into account also his mentioning of his cognitive assessments.
Okay.
Because of what we really believe that the cognitive assessments he's had, most likely the MoCA, the Montreal Cognitive Assessment.
Yes.
They are tracking the progression of dementia with this man. He wants to pretend like it was a aptitude test. That is no way, shape, or form what that test is for.
Right. He talks about it almost like an IQ test.
Yes. He wants us to believe they're just wanting to show the world how smart he is.
Right.
So that test is usually it's usually combined with neurological workup, which would include MRIs. I believe he's had everything. I think he's had everything. All of their messaging is always going to be a lie because they don't want anybody to publicly know how ill he really is.
And that's the dangerous part. Right there. Aren't we the people? It doesn't matter what side of the aisle you sit on. This isn't about a party. This is about the entire country. And when we have a president sitting in office, he serves us. He serves us. We don't serve him. He serves us. And sometimes you have to just, do the right thing. And again, I reiterate, this is not about being anti-Republican, anti-Democrat, anti-anything. I'm simply pointing out what nobody in the government wants to acknowledge. And they leave him at his own devices to set the whole country on fire and divide us. But when he's dead and gone, who's going to pick up the pieces? You can't allow one man to burn the place down and then bail out through death and leave us to pick up the pieces. So for anybody that wants to come in here and attack, saying you're liberal and all this stuff, this ain't about being liberal or independent, Republican, whatever you want to call it. At the end of the day, there is all hell that's going to break loose when this man drops dead. Let's be real. And who do you have to blame? The government for not doing anything about it. For whatever reason, be it self-serving or what. But it's the people that will suffer. I yet have been able to find a broke politician. Edwin, you are definitely entitled to your opinion. My whole point is he is not omnipotent. Something needs to be in place because the man is not well. Physically, he's not well. And he's getting no assistance from the government. They're allowing him to run rampant. So you are entitled to your opinion, Edwin. I'm not debating that with you. That's what you believe, and that's what you are entitled to believe. This live is not about who was better, him or Biden. Nobody gives a damn at this point. Biden is a moot point. Whatever happened in the past has nothing to do with what we're talking about right here.
So I go with the clinical symptoms he actually displays, and also the things that they get the most upset about, such as him falling asleep in cabinet meetings. Those are the indicators of what's really going on with him, for me at least, because they're never actually going to tell us what's going on with him.
Couple other things I want to ask about.
You can say what you will about Biden, but he's still alive and well. You can say what you want, y'all. You can continue to watch the live and you can oppose.
There was a video of Trump walking down a red carpet. The red carpet was perfectly straight. It didn't curve, it didn't bend. And this was when Donald Trump was meeting Vladimir Putin. And you see, especially if you speed the video up, that Trump is meandering from side to side. And so even though the carpet is straight, Trump is tracing what we might call almost like a sine wave, if you looked at it from a drone looking down.
Ignorant as
Is
hell.
that sometimes just the
You don't
way
even get
people meander down a sidewalk, or is there something relevant there to your work?
I think it's relevant because dementia decreases the brain's ability to process visual information. That leads to the glassy-eyed, blank stare, because they're actually not encountering visual stimulus the same way that someone without dementia does. It's combined with the right-sided weakness, the legs swinging in that semicircular fashion. Typically, when you advance a limb through what we call the swing phase and gait, you get hip flexion, you get knee flexion, you get dorsiflexion at the ankle to prevent the toes from clipping the ground as the leg swings through.
Let me explain that. In other words, if your foot was just hanging loose as you swing forward, the toes would start dragging against the ground and you might trip or whatever. So there's a natural motion where you flex the foot so that the toes point more up than down.
That's correct. And so the adaptation of the semicircular swing to the side is an evidence of weakness. That's not the ideal, the normal way that a swing phase occurs in human gait.
When it comes to the speech patterns of Donald Trump, and if any of this stuff is simply outside your area of comfort or expertise, you tell us.
Sure.
We observe everything from repetition of an increasingly narrow set of words. In other words, a diminished vocabulary.
Now, remember, we looked at the videos earlier, which demonstrated that very thing that he said. That was the whole purpose of showing that.
Yeah.
We see confusion between, for example, Greenland and Iceland recently, and sometimes multiple times, or other confusions. We see sometimes kind of trailing off and then abruptly almost like coming to and then talking about something different. Is that an unrelated series of characteristics, or is there something that...
Bobby Hunter, do you think that this guy is going to live forever? Let me just ask. I'm just curious. Do you believe, because Bobby Hunter seems to believe that we're idiots. We're just simply observing some cognitive issues in him. He can't control it. There's not something that he did stupid that caused this. This is something that happens to people. Now, based on what we're talking about, this is not about politics. This is health. This is a health issue. Now, are you going to tell me that we're idiots because we're talking about a health issue? Do you think that this man is going to live forever? Answer that question and then tell me who the idiot is. Lord have mercy.
Ties that together.
No, that's all tied together. His the frontal lobe is basically what alerts us to we're doing something we shouldn't be doing, or we're saying something we shouldn't be saying.
Hi, Polly.
His frontal lobe is shrinking inside of his skull, and the MRIs will reflect that. That's why they pivoted to the CT scan. They don't want you to know that they're watching his brain shrink. So the frontal lobe is stopping him from ordering his thoughts. I just made a video myself about how he mentioned the discombobulator that they used in Venezuela.
Right.
And he goes, the discombobulator, I'm not allowed to talk about it. Like, my brother in Christ, you should not be mentioning anything about American military effort. That's classified. He knows he's not supposed to talk about it, but his brain is not stopping him from talking about it.
And that's what makes it dangerous. This condition makes it dangerous to be in this position. This is not an attack on a party. So you people that come in here talking out the side of your neck about you're stupid, you're idiots. Who gave you free reign to decide who's an idiot by pointing out some medical issues that could have an impact on not just you or me, but everybody? This is not about politics, idiot. You want to see an idiot? Look in the mirror, because you are totally missing the entire purpose of this live. Grow up.
You've made a very controversial prediction. You believe Trump has 2 to 4 years of life left. Now, I don't want this to be, I was at the grocery store the other day buying 6 months worth of milk because we were getting snow, and that's the normal thing to do. You stock up on milk and bread for 6 months. And I was looking at these, the tabloid magazines in the checkout line, and it's sort of this stuff like, Hillary Parkinson's 1 week left before she's in a wheelchair sort of stuff. And when you hear Trump has 2 to 4 months left to live, from an actuarial standpoint, Trump is probably a super ager and may have 6 to 8 years of life left statistically. What makes you say it's 2 to 4 months?
So if it's frontotemporal dementia he's dealing with, the life expectancy after diagnosis is roughly 7 to 12 years. He's been displaying these symptoms since before he was elected in 2016.
Really?
Yeah.
Did you guys hear what he said? Did you guys hear what he just said? I'm going to back it up a little bit. This didn't just happen overnight.
Dementia he's dealing with, the life expectancy after diagnosis is roughly 7 to 12 years. He's been displaying these symptoms since before he was elected in 2016.
Really?
Yeah. So their ability to hide his actual condition is effective to a degree.
This is why I played those older videos. I wanted you to see the behavior, the cognitive behavior 6, 7 years ago. That was the purpose of pulling up older videos, older articles. This is not something that just happened overnight or while he was running this time. This has been going on for a long time.
The main danger they have, I'm talking about Trump's team, like the cabinet, the people closest to him. The main danger they have is he can't shut his mouth. They would never have had to comment on what happened at Walter Reed if he could simply never talk about having an MRI.
Right.
So he's much more ill than they will ever admit, and that they will do their best to conceal. They'll seat him behind a desk so you can't see the swelling in his feet and ankles, etc. So for me, I'm looking at the time frame, the actual, normal life expectancy for these things. A comparative example would be Bruce Willis, who now is in a care facility. He's been.
Bruce Willis is in such bad shape that it's sad. He is now in a care facility, and he's younger. This is the bottom line. This is not a political issue. This is a health issue. What is this country going to do? You see what I'm saying? What is the government going to do to protect us? Right now they're protecting him. And I understand you want to keep things, at bay and hide certain things that we've already seen. So, at what point in time does the government step up to the plate and do the right thing? because every day is a new day that puts us in jeopardy. Every day is a new day that puts us in jeopardy.
Moved from a home where he lived by himself and received 24/7 care to now actually being moved to a facility. His symptoms of frontotemporal dementia started with aphasia, where he could no longer perform on camera. He could.
They're talking about Bruce Willis now. And Bruce Willis is much younger. And it's progressed. Seriously. He's no longer able to do movies anymore. He can't read the scripts. He can't keep the things together that he would normally do as an actor. Now he's in a home.
Not execute lines anymore. That was 2022, 23. And now he is where he is. So they are, I'm just going by what the typical life expectancy is and the symptoms he displays. And they're, you know, he is a McDonald's fiend. Like, there's nothing about this man that would be considered a compliant patient. And non-compliance from patients, if you ask any healthcare worker, is one of the banes of our existence. People who are doing things that are medically inadvisable just literally don't want to change. He's 80 years old at this point. I mean, again, there are multiple other health conditions that they will never comment on. They say the swelling in his feet and ankles is from chronic venous insufficiency. I believe it's from congestive heart failure and or chronic kidney disease, or maybe a combination of the two.
Chronic kidney disease or congestive heart failure because of the swelling. That's on top of the dementia. I'm telling y'all, this man is not well. He's not well. And nobody lives forever. I'm sorry you MAGA people don't want to hear that. But you might want to start preparing yourself.
So he's got multiple chronic conditions that you have to stay on top of if you don't want them to kill you, to put you in a cardiac event or a stroke-like event or that kind of thing. So I'm taking the whole picture into account, and that's where I'm landing.
I guess the counterpoint is most people don't have access to the sort of healthcare that the president of the United States does. And there may be a lot that is done with someone in that position.
Correct. So we see what appears to be a bruising from an IV injection site on his hands, which they also lie about that and say that it's from shaking hands or, oh, I clipped the table. No,
I clipped the table.
Yeah, that's an IV injection site. My guess is he's most likely getting IV diuretic medication to pull excess fluid off of his body so that he doesn't end up in a congestive heart failure exacerbation and require hospitalization. And there's a certain measure of stuff that they can do inside the White House or on Air Force One that the general population would never have access to, which makes the visits to Walter Reed that much more conspicuous. Like, why would you go to Walter Reed and do X, Y, and Z if you've got all this capability at the White House itself?
Are you putting your money where your mouth is on this, in the sense that on Kalshi right now, you can bet on, I mean, listen, only it actually went up while we've been talking, incredibly. At the start of this conversation, only 16% believed that Trump would not make it to December 31st of this year. Now it's 18%, but it's quite literally rising as we talk. But the point is, there would be great odds and money to make on this if you think his life expectancy is 2 to 4 months.
Sure. I'm not going to be participating in that.
Good for you, Paula. Clearly, you've missed the entire point of this live. You focused on one thing, chronic venous insufficiency. That is not the issue. Good Lord, you people.
Not just because it feels morbid.
Okay.
But I understand the principle. Like, I mean, again, people kind of question, like, do you really think that? I'm like, listen, I feel like I'm watching a TV show that stars one of my patients. That's
Wow.
what this feels like.
We have been speaking with Adam James, who is a licensed physical therapist, creates content under the name Epistemic Crisis. Adam, appreciate your time and insights.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So with all that said, I'm just bringing awareness to the possibilities. If you want to take that as a political stab, be my freaking guest. But clearly you've lost the whole point of this live. So with that said, I'm going to go ahead and end the show. Thank you guys for coming. Thank you for everybody that dropped a comment. Whether we agree or disagree, there's no political issue in this particular live. This is not political. We're talking about a human being that is displaying some issues that are cognitive signals, and they're dangerous. So with that said, you guys have a wonderful evening. Stay blessed. Hit the like button on your way out. If you enjoyed the live, like the live, subscribe to the channel, support the channel. I'm trying to bring awareness to a lot of different things. This is not necessarily a me versus them thing. This is not anybody against anybody. I'm pointing out some issues that we all need to be aware of, no matter what side of the aisle you serve. And like I always say, I don't trust nan politician, Democratic or Republican. So with that said, you guys have a wonderful evening. God bless. Good night.
Hey there, my kinfolk, thanks for stopping by. Auntie Mickey's house, where we reach for the sky. Every comment and smile, you make my heart glow. Together we're strong, together we grow. From gossip to politics, we cover it all. Sharing laughs and thoughts, having a ball. Your support means everything that I know. Feels like family here in this sweet show. So let's keep it flowing, keep the love alive. Every moment together makes me thrive. You're more than viewers, you're my kinfolk. You see, my gratitude runs deep as the sea. Thank you for being here, for sharing your time with each comment, with each rhyme. You're my kinfolk, my family, my crew. So much love to all of you. Turn up the camera, let's make it bright. Your support lifts me up, takes flight.